So after the session of last week, I talked about the 5 levels of AI coding skills and the dark factory, and also the session. There is a video. I think I published it not the last week, but the week before. There was also a video talking about the 5 levels of AI coding skills and what is required in order to level up and to move from level 2 or level 3 toward level 4, or from level 2 to level 3 and 4. And one of the practices that are required in order to level up is to master and to get familiar with spec-driven development. This skill is actually also required if you would like, oh, sorry, if you are considering an AI engineer career. One of the requirements for an AI engineer is they know at least the spec-driven development among other skills. So maybe I can show you just a slide to about the 5 level this AI coding skills. Just a summary for those who didn't watch the video. And there is even an article also if you would like to check the written version of it. Last Wednesday, actually, I published the article, this one. This is my newsletter page, but the article is this one. Just one moment. If you would like to check the written version, you can read it and find the link to the 5 level skills video that I have published. And this is the slide about the 5 levels. And the actually starting from level 2, you can start practicing spec level development. Okay. And the slide that I meant is, just a moment. It's this one. So this is the change in our workflow as developers or engineers. Previously, in our software development lifecycle, we start with having the requirement, then move to the design and creating the Jira ticket. Then we implement, or also we can use AI here to generate the code. Then we review the merge request or the pull request. And after that, we can go to production or deploy. And the new recommended software development lifecycle that is more adapted to using agentic coding and to using also AI agents as a team in your workflow. So what is recommended is to start with the requirements, then move to the specification, to the spec, actually create the spec. The spec is different from the requirement. And then we can generate the implementation and documentation by leveraging our AI agents or our agentic tools. Then we have a review and check if of the comprehension gate, whether the person who generated or worked on that ticket has at least the minimum level of understanding of what the code is doing. And this is helpful to avoid future bugs or future complication in the system and facing hardship to debug it and troubleshooting it and find and fix the bug. Then we can move to the deployment. And this is the when we want to work with the spec-driven development, there are 3 layers actually. Layer 2, where we start with creating a detailed specification. And this forces us to understand the problem that we want to solve in our ticket, and understand also the edge cases, the failure modes, and so on. And we can leverage some skills here. You can create your own skills, whether you are using Claude, you can use create the Claude skills, or maybe install some of them from Claude Marketplace. With Gemini, you can also use skills, but today we are not going to use custom skills or some any skills. We are going to use OpenSpec. I will. Oh, just a moment. So, yeah, after the spec-driven development, or after starting with the spec and moving to the generation of the code and making sure everything is understandable, we would like, our goal is to have a self-describing system or a self-describing code that is easier to debug. And it's worth explaining what's the difference between requirements and spec. So a requirement is actually what a human and wants. Requirements are often fuzzy and complete, and or they are buried in a Jira ticket, but it's not detailed enough. Like, for example, fix the login timeout, or implement the authentication, or implement the authorization, or make the dashboard faster. So the requirements are the what, not the how. And they describe what to implement, but not how to implement it. And they assumes a lot of context. They assume, for example, that you as an engineer already know that our token expire, for example, in 15 minutes. But this is not mentioned in Jira. And if you give such Jira implement authentication to your Claude or Gemini or whatever AI tool you are using, without specifying such details, the AI agentic tool will make some assumptions. And the assumption might, there is a high chance that it will deviate from what you are expecting, or from what we really want, or what the product owner want. That's why we have this concept of spec-driven development. Spec is for specification. Spec is what you give to your AI. You can leverage AI to generate the spec. Then you give the spec to your AI tool, and they are not fuzzy requirement. They are the requirement, the fuzziest, and they can contain the product requirement, PRD level details. They can contain edge cases. They can contain institutional knowledge. They can, or they should actually, or it's expected that they contain as much details as it is expected. And the details, for example, like the token expires in 55 seconds, not in 60 seconds or in 12 minutes or whatever. It depends on the system. For example, if you are dealing with implementing a banking app, the token is expected to be expired maybe in shorter time than in other kind of applications. Spec also must contain acceptance criteria if they are not mentioned in the Jira ticket. And they can even contain some examples of input and output that you can give to AI. Here is an example of a fuzzy, incomplete, and not clear requirement. Build me a chair, or build me a blog post. And a spec could be build me a four-legged 45 centimeter tall oak check that supports 120 kilogram with no wobble when placed on a T degree slope. if we take the example of a blog, a requirement could be build me a personal profile website, or build I want to build the web app for our company. And the specification could be, for example, build me a blog website, but I want it to be implemented with Astro, for example, because it is more optimized. It's lightweight. It is more optimized for search engine. This is for SEO, search engine optimization. It's also more friendly. It could be more friendly for AI tools to discover the website and enhance its ranking, and so on. It could also contain that we want, for example, we want the website to boost the engaging on our website, because we noticed that the users visit the website, but they quit it, exit rapidly. They don't last long time. And sorry, I was just checking whether the light was on or off. So this is just a general or short description or explanation of the difference between what is spec and what is a requirement. And in our today's session, as I mentioned, we are going to use OpenSpec. Let me move to the browser. So OpenSpec is available on GitHub. It's open source. OpenSpec, it's a spec-driven development, SDD, for AI coding assistant. It has already over 44K stars. And there are actually other tools, like, for example, I think Kiro from Amazon, or there is a section here that shows you the Kiro, for example. Kiro from AWS is also helpful for developers to use or to adopt the spec-driven development. But Kiro, it can lock you into the Kiro IDE from AWS and is limited to Claude models. But OpenSpec works with the tools that you already use. We will see in a few minutes how with OpenSpec we can use a huge number of AIs. There is also SpecKit. It's also from GitHub. It's thorough but heavyweight. It's rigid phase gates. It has a lot of markdowns. Python, it needs a Python setup. OpenSpec is lighter and let you iterate freely. We will see how it's very easy to install it and just start working with it. The onboarding is not complicated. And I noticed something that is also maybe worth knowing. For example, here one of the contributors are Claude. There is also Rabbit AI. Code Rabbit AI is also one of the contributors, and there are over 48 contributors in this repository. So then our goal today is to re-implement a web application. And just a moment. I will show you what web application we want to re-implement. So it's this one, my own web app actually. So this is our case study. It's a real business website, and we want to re-implement it from scratch with zero handwritten code. I won't write anything per hand. And let's see what we have for the moment. So I would like to that the website is helpful to position the brand Engforge, and yeah, to be also engageable for the end users and so on. For the moment, it has only dark mode. This is the first page. It contains two CTA, call to actions, book a consultation or view services. It has theoretically, or not theoretically, it supports two languages, but it's just the dark theme. There is no light theme. It has some numbers, about us page, ta, ta, ta. Yeah, subscribe where you can enter your own email, and it has also some other pages like insights, quizzes, clients, services, consulting, training, advisory, and contact page. Yeah, and to re-implement it, we will leverage Claude Design. You might already heard about Claude Design and its capability. I generated actually, or asked Claude Design. I gave it this URL to this website, engforge.com, and asked it to give me a new suggestion for a new layout to boost the brand, or position the brand, boost the business, to make I wanted the website to be engageable for the end user, to be modern, and I wanted an improved version of this, although this is not the layout here is not very old. It has even some links to social medias and so on. And I wanted the new website to support two themes, the light theme and the dark theme. And generated actually two templates or layouts for me. So generated one, the first one was, this is just the layout. This is not the implementation. It's a new template or layout for the website that is generated by Claude Code. The first one is called Editorial Forge. It's warm, confident, and trust-led. It has two dark theme and light theme. As you can see, I like this animation in the background. Yeah, it has some Forge engineering teams that ship like the future on it. It has here book a consultation, two languages. There is even a new generated logo. And what else? We have the numbers here, some clients, and how we help. This is a kind of the services page, and about us page, and here something on the footer. The Agentic architecture program was the most useful. Ta, ta, ta. Okay, so this is the first one. Actually, I find it beautiful, but it's kind of looks like the New York Times newspaper, especially the font and so on. So this is how it looks like in dark mode. And the second suggestion that Claude Design has generated is this one. So it's AI forward, precise, technical, and momentum. This is the header. It has dark and light mode, book consultant. So it's I like how the button was looks like. It's like it makes you think of the code. So that's why it's described as technical. There are here also two buttons, some kind of the services that are offered are displayed as kind of labels. And here this terminal. So it looks like a terminal, but it's just presenting what services are offered: audit target platform, plan horizon in 90 day, and train topic agentic architecture and chip. And here is average outcome that is promised 203 more velocity, increase in the velocity, and plus 80% quality. Okay, so this is just the rest of the what is suggested by Claude Design. Let me show it, all of it in the dark mode. Okay, so I exported actually what Claude Design has generated. In Claude Design, you can export what is proposed as HTML, which I did. And here you can see it's just an HTML page. And I gave it, or not gave it actually, I copy pasted it here in this folder, because this folder contains the old website. This is the old website. It's implemented with Astro and TypeScript, JavaScript. So I just pasted the HTML page there, and I will use Gemini now. So the new design is generated by Claude Design, and the implementation will be done with Gemini. With Gemini, you can see .gemini folder, just like when you are using Claude, you see also .claude. And under that .claude or .gemini, you can have some skills and commands and so on. So as you can see here, commands is just an empty folder. Skills is just an empty folder. Let me just remove this one because I don't need it. So, and now we need to go to the terminal. And the first step is to install OpenSpec. Hi, D4 NTZ. Where are you joining? Where are you from? Can you tell us in the chat? So the command to install, it's this one, npm install -g for global, to install it globally, and then at fission -AI OpenSpec and the latest version. So I hit enter, and you need to have Node.js installed on your local machine in order to use the npm command or the npm package manager. So, and the next step is to call openspec.init under your project where you want to use OpenSpec. So go to your project with cd your project and just call OpenSpec init. So I'm already under this root folder, Engforge. and I just need to call open init. Let me just increase the size of the font. Okay, or let's increase it a bit more. 145. Okay. Yeah, and now I will hit enter, and when I hit enter, it will create an OpenSpec folder here under this project. So as you can see, for the moment, I have astro.gemini, idea VS Code, and SLC public, and this is just the node modules and nothing else. So let's make this. Oh, just let me show you. Or maybe just a moment. I will change the position. Move to right. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Oops. That's too much. Oh. Okay. So I hit init. And welcome to OpenSpec, a lightweight spec-driven framework. This setup will configure agentic skills for AI tools, and it will allow me to use /opsx : and then some commands. Like, for example, opsx : new to create change, continue to go to the next artifact, and apply to implement tasks. And now I need to hit enter to select what AI tool I am using. I hit enter, and as you can see, it supports Gemini, CLI, it supports, I can use it with Amazon Q, Developer Anti-Gravity, Augie, Bob Shell, Claude Code, Klein, Codex, Forge Code, Code Bobby Code, CLI, Continue, Constrict, Crash, Cursor Factor, Droid, and there are even more here on the bottom, like IFIO, Uni or Juni, Kilo Code, Kiro, Open Code, Pi, Coda, Lingma, Quen Code, WooCode, Tray, and Windsurf. So I need to select the appropriate one. If I am using, for example, Claude Code, where is Claude Code? Here. I need to hit space to select it, then hit enter. So let's deselect it for the moment and just keep Gemini CLI selected. Then I can hit enter. And now, as you can see, this folder is newly generated. It wasn't there. It's just generated right now. And it has changes and specs under it. And they are just empty folders. And this config.yml, it allows you... so OpenSpec actually allows you even to do some customization for the skills and the commands and the features that is offered by it. And the other things is that under .gemini, we had two folders, commands and skills, but they were empty. And now they are not empty anymore. So commands, it contains a new folder called opsx, and it contains apply, achieve, explore, and propose TOML files. Let's check what do we have in it. So this is TOML. So they contain a kind of system prompting, like implementing, change, a lot of instructions, explore, enter explore mode, think through ideas, investigate problems, and clarify requirements. And it has a system prompt. And this system prompt is actually connected with the opsx explore explore skill. If we open this one, okay. I am expected it to be connected somehow and somewhere with the explore.toml file. Where is it? Explore.toml. Okay, it's not there, but maybe not here, but maybe somehow somewhere in the background tasks. So under skills, we find OpenSpec explore skill, OpenSpec propose skill, propose a new change with all artifacts. Propose skill can create proposal.md, Markdown file, design.md, and tasks.md. We have also apply. So apply will actually start with the implementation. When you finish the generation of the spec, it will take the proposal tasks and design and so on, markdown files, and based on them, they will contain things like, for example, what test scenarios should be done, what use cases and edge cases should be covered, and so on. So those are basically the skills and the commands that we have. And as I mentioned, we have now OpenSpec a new folder. It contains changes and archive and specs. And archive and specs are for now empty folders. Let's now go back here, but not to this terminal. We need to open Gemini, CLI, so Gemini. Okay, we have Gemini already on this terminal. Let me give it more space. And notice now when I hit the slash, I can see some, for example, I can use slash clear, slash compress, and so on, just like they are similar to slash clear and slash compress in Claude code. But I want to use as actually OpenSpec, OPS explore first. Why? Because I want to call the explore command, which has the explore, which is connected with the explore skill, and I want to tell it that I want to re-implement this website starting from scratch and using the second design that was proposed by Claude, which is the technical design. So opsx, then explore, just explore, and I want, so after calling the command and the explore skill, you need to describe what is the idea that you want to explore. Okay, I want to re-implement the current website under this project with not with, but I want and make it look like the second design in and in order to just a moment I need to tell it where is the design, the second design, and to mention a specific file, whether you are using Claude or Gemini, you can write at, then it will show you what folders and files do you have here in this code base, and you can mention your specific file. So my file is called Engforge, and it's this one. I can just hit enter. And to be more specific, let me just tell it what is the exact name of that design. So it is 0 to, oh, I couldn't copy it, but just a moment. So this is the second design. Oh, I tried to select, but okay. I'm not sure whether it is copied or not. It's not copied. Okay, but let me. So this is the whole design. This is the home page, and when the user scroll down, that's what they can see. And this one is the other design. And here is it in dark mode. And this is the second one that I want to use in dark mode. So it's 0 to AI forward precise technical momentum. And make it look like the second design in Engforge Design. 0 to AI forward precise, if I am not wrong, technical and momentum. Yeah, precise technical momentum, that's correct. Okay. So this is our original website, and we want to re-implement it using this Claude Design layout. Let's hit enter and see what we will get. Okay. Allow for this session. Allow for this session. Exploration. Entering explore mode to research the redesign project and existing code base. So it started by reading the file that I mentioned, and also, so now it's reading the file and also reading the existing code base. Okay. It's continuing to read more. Even the internationalization files. And okay. It will take a moment actually. And please let me know in the chat if you have ever heard of the spec-driven development before or used it. And if you have used it, what tools did you use? Did you use OpenSpec also before? Did you use Kiro or OpenKit, I think, from GitHub? Or did you just use the plan mode that is available in Claude or in Gemini and other AI tools? Allow for this session. So now it's just, it's not generating anything, just reading what is available under this project. And the current project was actually also generated by Gemini, but it was just generated by using prompt. There was a prompt, I leveraged prompt. I specified that I want the website to be search engine optimized, to be discoverable for AI, to be engaging, and to has the dark theme. But I didn't give it any specific template or layout as a starting point. I think I showed it just a few examples of some modern websites, and I mentioned it also that I wanted to be lightweight. And the end decision, after some discussions with Gemini, the end decision was to implement it by using Astro. And you need to be careful. Maybe you need to remember this whenever you are implementing a new web app. In often actually the AI tools that you are using, when you tell it that I want to implement a blog post or to implement a simple website, it will suggest as text as a tech stack, or it will just use that without asking you about it. It will use maybe React and maybe Tailwind. But React or Angular might be very useful for much bigger web application. But for a simple company website or simple blog post that is not so complicated, the React might be not the best tool or the best framework. So it's worth it to check what, or at least to discuss what tools you will use to implement the web app or the website with the AI before trying to implement it. And later you will discover that it might have some web performance issues. Maybe the bundle is bigger than what it is enough for such a small application, and so on. There is someone else that joined us. Hi, can you let us know where are you from? Okay, so I hit the opsx :explore command, which will ask me actually a lot of questions to explore the idea with me and specify what gaps are there and what things that are not clear. So I am exploring implementing the website using this design. that was generated by Claude Design. So this is a powerful direction. The AI forward aesthetic, precise, technical, and full momentum. It feels like the perfect bridge between your nearly 20 years of architectural expertise and the cutting edge AI agency you are rebuilding. So I will explore the current code base, blah blah blah. The first thing, aesthetic map. So the typography, the current state, what is available on the current website, which is this one, not this one. This is the current website. So it analyzed Gemini, used the opsx colon explore command and skill to analyze the current state and analyze this new proposed layout. And this is the comparison. When it comes to the typography, the current space is deep blue, soft gradient. The new one is JetBrain Mono for all system text, data, labels, enter for sharp. It has true black, electric blue, and the backgrounds and motion. The background in the current website is blurry with soft fades, and the new one is blueprint grid with coordinates, scan lines, and system status. It has system status overlaps. So, and this is actually what I wanted. I like actually this JetBrain Mono and so on. Maybe I will show it again. So this is the old website, which is live now, and this is the new layout. Let me know in the chat which one do you prefer. I showed you at the beginning those two layouts that are generated by Claude Design, and that I would like to use this second one in this session in the output that I would like to have. So let me know if just like me, you also like this second design, AI forward, precise, technical momentum, or this first one, editorial forge, warm, confident, and trust-led. Okay. Let's go back to what else do we have here? So when it comes to the architectural pivot, to achieve this without getting the project, without gutting the project, we can think in terms of protocol and systems. Protocol, Engforge code system initializing AI forward engineering, investigation existing assets. I noticed a few things in the code base that we can leverage. JetBrain Mono already present in the redesign document. You should make this first class citizen in the global theme. Quiz theme, the actual contains some of the technical DNA, already high contrast status color, left border indicator. We can extract this pattern for the main site. And the old website, it contains Tailwind. It was consciously selected as a CSS framework. And here there are some questions to sharpen the vision. The momentum color, should we stick to the blue cyan spectrum or move something more warning action like high visibility orange or sharp emerald green? When it comes to the navigation, do you like the fixed top header or should we try more integrated dashboard feel where the navigation is part of the system UI? And the imagery, should we replace the soft profile placeholders with something more glitch technical? Your photo with scanline overlay or stylized blueprint filter. And the logo, the current hexagon cube logo is great. Should we make it animate, like rotate or pulse, to show system activity? This feels like a solid foundation. Should we start drafting the implementation plan for the AI forward re-implementation? So I will start by answering the last question, actually, the logo. Yes, make the logo. Let me answer this one first. So, yes, make the logo. And regarding the other questions, I would like to have the new website look like the design, actually. Look like the new AI forward design. Okay, and now I can use another command, which is OPS, or maybe here, OPSX. Why it doesn't show up? Just a moment. Okay. Yeah, no. OPS. Yeah. X apply. And when I will hit enter, it will start with the implementation. But let me check here. And under OPS spec, the folder changes, which contains archive and specs. Archive and specs are still empty because we didn't start it with the implementation yet. But if I hit apply, it will create some files under there. So the AI forward design. Before we flip the switch to implementation, let's visualize AI forward system. The system activity logo. This is the plan on how to animate the logo. Hexagon in a cube or blinking LED. Blink, pulse, core, rotate. Let me know which one do you prefer. Which animation for the logo do you prefer? The rotor, the core, or the pulse? So for me, this one, I'm not sure. Maybe we can try one of them and later we can switch to another one. Okay. Based on variant 02 AI forward, we will pivot to design tokens. We will use a grid system, a fixed 24 pixel baseline grid visible in the background and subtle. Typography is for the header JetBrain Mono. JetBrain Mono for the metadata also. We will use burn orange. And the proposed change structure to implement this, I will need to orchestrate style overhaul to create a new CSS palette and update the global CSS file. Component refactor to update the hero Astro, service card Astro, header Astro, to use the new rigid monospace redesign. And as for the animation library, we need to add a few targeted CSS keyframes For the system activity effects, ready to move on? This feels solid. Would you like to create the re-implement AI forward design proposal? For now, yeah, I will just copy this. And I already invoked opsx colon apply. Then I just need to hit enter. Okay, apply the implementation. And now it will start it will start generating some files actually under specs. Okay, let's stay here to follow. Okay, allow for this session. Change re-implement AI forward design. Okay, so this is this is a newly created file AI forward.css for the style sheet instead of the old one. So for the border, typography, semantic, and so on. For each section on the website, there are some CSS properties and variables that are generated. And this is the global style sheet file. So instead of the old ocean palette, we have now this new AI forward.css imported. The background color is changed. There is a new box shadow instead of the soft shadow that was available before that. The gradient text and yeah, this is the new font. Okay, however, there are some animation for the logo. So system logo animation. There is this rotate animation, pulse, and blink. And what else do we have? Okay, now apparently the footer will be updated and redesigned. Okay. So this is the overscan effect, and also some animation added to the footer apparently. Okay. Let's check the proposed layout to make sure that what we will get will look like what was expected. I like also this animation on the home page, and I'm wondering if the what will be generated will look like this one or if there would be some deviation. Let's see in a moment. Maybe you have also noticed that the new suggested layout doesn't contain all the pages. So it's not one-to-one. Sorry. I mean the suggestion, there is suggestion for the home page, for about us, and so on. But here we see just the header, but not the content of each page. So which means that we are expecting Gemini to come with some suggestion actually, or try to redesign them, but making them look like adaptable actually to the new. The content maybe it will be the same as the content in the old website, but how it looks and feels should look like this one. So we have the services page, the about us, and testimonials. But insights and clients and speaking are not there. Okay, let's go back. Now Gemini is editing the consulting page. Okay, all tasks complete. The Engforge website now reflect this new layout, proposed layout that was generated by Claude Design. All right. Let me show you. So this, under this folder, OpenSpec, before I called the OPS X colon apply, this folder was under changes. Actually, there was just archive folder and it's an empty one. But now there is a new folder that was created which contains the specification for what should be implemented. So those are the specs for the implementation of the new look of the website. Here there are some files, Markdown files, describing sorry. So describing, for example, the animation, the logo animation, the logo rotation verification, the heartbeat blink verification. And here some requirement for the high density hero section, the verify hero content density, the system UI, design card, the verify card interaction, JetBrain mono primary, verify font family, and under UI, theme AI forward, we find the requirements like visual verification of the theme variables, centralized AI forward design, rigid technical layout. For the scenario, verify component border radius. There is an instruction here to inspect the service card or hero action buttons, and so on. And here, this design MD is it contains much more content than the other ones. So Engforge project is built with Astro 5. This is one of the accept criteria actually that are considered in the implementation. And Tailwind CSS4, the current styling relies on Ocean CSS palette and soft modern web aesthetic. And the transition to the AI forward look. For this transition, we need to redefine the core theme and overhaul several shared components. So the goal is to implement the AI forward visual identity that is available in this HTML design page or layout page. Create rigid technical system UI field using CSS grids and monospace topography, implemented dynamic, implement SVG logo, reflecting the system activity, and ensure the site remains fully bilingual with the English and the German languages during the redesign. So this is actually a kind of prompt, but is more details. It contains section about what is the goal and the non-goal. For example, what should not be done. This is very important when you are leveraging agentic tools and AI in your development workflow, not just to specify what's the goal and what's the scope that you would like to achieve, but also to specify what you don't want to have, what doesn't belong to the scope of your Jira ticket, for example, to avoid some scope creeping. Scope creeping is when AI, for example, you ask it to implement a specific feature, but when it was generating the code, it might start to maybe even do some refactoring somewhere in the application, which is also an unwanted scope creep. Okay, here as non-goals, we have changing the content structure. We don't want to change the content structure and adding new pages. We don't want to modify the underlying Astro Tailwind framework vision. That was also my goal. I didn't want that when Gemini will redesign the website using that Claude design layout, that it will use maybe React or Angular or any other framework or maybe Svelte framework in the implementation. I wanted to keep using Astro, and non-goal, we don't want to implement a full dark mode toggle. The site will be dark only for this aesthetic. Okay. And the key decisions are to use Tailwind, to have SVG logo animation, background grid implementation. Typography is to have JetBrain Mono as font. And here are some risks that are highlighted. High density versus readability. So this is also very important, because sometimes you might find, for example, a dark theme with very, very light font, and the contrast might be, for example, very high, and it won't be it won't look smooth to your eyes or for the readers. So as mitigation, use generous padding with system UI implements and maintain enter for body text to ensure professional users can still scan content effectively. So here is another risk regarding the animation distraction. That's true. Not all the users like distraction. I noticed this. I remember one of my experiences. It was many years ago, before actually the start of using AI in the code. I was working on a web app. It was the goal was to, or its end users are actually intern in the company, and there was an animation. One of the views in that web page, not web page, it was a web app, an enterprise application. There was some tabs on the page, and when the user moved to the next tab, the content of the tab will come with some transition. I think that I leverage Angular material and Angular math tabs. And with math tabs, there is by default an animation. When you switch to the next tab, the content will come with some animation, which look like very beautiful. But I remember one of the users told me they didn't want this animation because it was distracting for them. You need also to, there is some limit for the animation. Too much animation might be distracting or might satisfy some users but not satisfy other users. And also, animation might cost you some web performance issues because it might make the website a bit slower. So let me know if you agree with me on this, or if you have experienced some issues with animation or with web performance issues in the chat. So, as mitigation, keep the logo animation subtle, slow rotation, gentle pulse to avoid visual fatigue or accessibility issues. And the third risk is the contrast ratios. So, as mitigation, ensure the burnt orange accent and true black background maintain a minimum of 405:1 contrast ratio for all text elements. So this was the Markdown file containing the instructions about the design. Then here the proposal. There is a section called Why the current Engforge website use standard modern aesthetic ocean midnight theme. And what changed is the visual identity, color, typography, branding, core component, new capability UI theme, AI forward, animated system logo, system UI component, modified capability. There are none modified capabilities. This is a visual and structural re-implementation of the existing page. And those are the main pages that would be changed. And let me deploy actually the website. And for that, we need to run npm run dev. So this command is what we use with Astro. So let's go back here. And I might need, so let's delete first the whole node modules folder. Then I will install all the dependencies or reinstall them, then deploy the app and check whether it looks like the new one or not. Okay, let me delete it from somewhere else. Engforge, where is it? Here. Okay. So move to bin. Okay. I deleted it. Actually, when I refresh here, you can see it's deleted. Okay. Then let's go to the terminal and just hit npm. Oh, not this terminal, the other one. So npm install. So the first one to install all the dependencies, and when it will be done, I will run npm run dev to deploy the website on my current on my local host, and it will be available under localhost 4321. Okay. Takes a moment, but it must be done under max 2 minutes or 1 minute, hopefully. Looks like it's slow actually for me. Oh, it's done. That's good. Okay, then just npm run dev. Okay, and the website should be available here. Oh, cancel. It implemented just the dark mode. I'm checking whether there are some errors on the console, on the browser, so there are no errors. And there are some deviation actually, as you might have noticed it. So let me switch to the dark mode. So transform your engineering with Explorer guidance. Let me refresh. The animation also for the numbers is absent. Okay, but we have another approach, which is, so I will copy paste the file, the Engforge file, just a moment, that contain the design. Oops. Or is it? It's this one. Copy. And I will create a new folder or new project, empty project, because here we didn't start really from scratch. We already had the website and we wanted to rebuild it. But now I will create a new one, project, and empty project. And I will call it Engforge website. Okay, and hit enter. This window. Okay, and now let me just paste the design that was created by Claude Design, sorry. Did I hit paste? No. Okay, let me paste it manually on my other monitor. Okay, Engforge redesign HTML. Okay, it's here. I just need to refresh. Okay. And now what we need to do is to initialize OpenSpec, or to call OpenSpec minus init to initialize, to make the OpenSpec commands and skills available here also. So just OpenSpec init. I need to hit enter and select what AI tool I am using. I need to select Gemini CLI and hit space to select it, then hit enter. And now I can open a new terminal and just open Gemini CLI. So Gemini. So let's move here. So to the browser. So this is the original website that we wanted to re-implement from scratch. And this is the Claude Design proposed layout. And this was the layout that was generated as we started from an existing website. Now I will call OpenSpec propose. So propose command without the explore command on an empty project. So just OpenSpec. Oh, sorry, not OpenSpec, but opsx and propose. Propose to generate the specification, the different Markdown files, Markdown for design, Markdown for the different tasks that should be achieved and implemented by Gemini, and maybe even some other Markdown files. So opsx propose a new website not a new website, but propose. Let me change it. Re-implement the website that is available here And I need to copy paste the URL of the existing website because that's the starting point for Gemini now. There is no code base that it will check. So re-implement the website that is available here and make it look like the design available in, I need to specify the name of the file that contains the design. It's the HTML file called Engforge redesign HTML. I would like to add here something and make it exactly look like so. I hit enter and let's see what will happen now. So we skipped now the explore phase because I have the impression that during the explore phase that we called previously, Gemini made new decisions. And also the fact that it checked the existing code base, this impacted and influenced the output, the end result. Oh, I forgot to mention that I want you to implement it using Astro as a framework and Tailwind CSS, both last versions. So with Claude Code and also with the Gemini, you can hit enter on a prompt. Then Gemini or Claude Code will start addressing and checking and doing what you have requested in that prompt. Then you can hit enter while it's not finished yet and it's not done yet with your previous prompt. You can hit enter on another prompt. You might have forgot something to add to your prompt and it will add it to the queue. So sometimes when it will consider the context that we have added after a while. Right now, my second prompt or my last instruction that I have added is in the queue of the prompt that Gemini will address them. And I'm expecting it to check the online website. So as you can see, this might be a skill or a task called web fetch. It's fetching processing URLs and instruction from prompt. It's fetching it's fetching also the website, analyzing its structure, its content, and its features. I didn't add it to my above prompt. I want you to implement it and make sure that the new design boosts the business and boost and position the brand and is engageable and so on, because I mentioned how I gave it explicitly how the new design should look like. So, and I'm expecting just to have those as a constraint, not this one, but this one. So this is the home page, and that's how I wanted to look like. I wanted the what would be implemented to look exactly or as to have not too much deviation, at least between the new design and what this design that was provided. Okay. It's still thinking, that's fine. Hi, Faizan. I'm fine, thank you. Where are you joining from? Where are you located right now? I hope that you are enjoying and your free time maybe today during this Labor Day. This week I came up to realize that the Labor Day was not celebrated actually in the whole world. There are only 160 countries that are celebrating it. Right now I'm working in a team with some members are not, we are actually an international team, and unfortunately not all of us have a free day today. Okay. I want you, this is my prompt, it's still in the queue. Okay, let me show you meanwhile while Gemini is processing my first and hopefully my second prompt. Let me show you how you can customize OpenSpec if you are using it. So there is, so as mentioned, OpenSpec is helpful when using AI coding tools. So AI coding assistants are powerful, but they are unpredictable. And when requirements live only in a chat history, sometimes your Jira ticket might contain some requirements, but part of the requirements are, for example, in an architectural document in Confluence, or they might be in some discussion in some team meetings, or in some Slack discussions, or MS Teams discussion, and so on. And with OpenSpec helps you actually to add the lightweight spec layer, so you agree on what to build before any code is written. You might, for example, you might give it the first Jira description, and it will check that there might be some gaps, and it will ask you, for example, what's after how much time the token should be expired, or you might ask it, I wanted the new layout to be engaging for the end user. Then it will ask you, okay, what do you mean by engaging? Do you mean that you want, for example, to add some animation or some video, that might muted video that will play automatically when the user visit the web page? Or do you want to add some charts with some metrics and so on, to you, and some graphics to the web page and so on? So it helps you during when you are using OpenSpec, you can agree with your AI coding assistant on what you are building, what you want to build. So the human and AI align on specs before code gets written. It helps you to stay organized. Each change gets its own folder with a proposal, spec, design, and tasks, and it helps you to work more fluidly by updating any artifact anytime, no rigid phase gates, and it allows you also to use your tools. It works with over AI assistants via /command. I mentioned that you can use it with Gemini, with Claude Code, with Codex, with many other AI tools. And one of the gaps that it might help you to cover in your while you are discussing the requirements with it. For example, let's say you told it that I want to implement um, a cron job in our system, and this cron job should run maybe every 2 hours. That's the requirement. So the AI can check the code base and has your requirement. But when you are using spec-driven development during the generation and the preparation of the spec, you, OpenSpec, for example, commands and so on might detect, okay, you haven't mentioned where will this cron job deployed and where is your system deployed. Is it is it deployed, for example, with Kubernetes? Is it deployed on AWS? Is it deployed on Google Cloud? So this will add the new constraint or acceptance criteria that you are using cloud native development maybe, and it might ask you, for example, whether your deployment is a single pod deployment, is it a multi-pod deployment, are you using 2 pods, 3 pods, and so on. Why this is important? Because let's say you are using cron job, or maybe you have some jobs that will be triggered when specific actions will happen, when, for example, some requests will be called. And what if the request to start an order, for example, an end user has ordered some items on your web app, and that order is right now is processed by specific pod, and after a moment or a few minutes, the end user changed their minds and they wanted that order to be cancelled. Then a new cancel order request will be sent, and maybe it will be processed by the second pod. And there is a question now: is the second pod aware that the order is still not the second pod? Is the first pod aware that there is a cancel order here? What if this one will change the status in the database to cancel the order status? Then the first one will finish some tasks, and then we'll update the status and maybe change the number of available items in the store and so on. So this is some kind of constraints that we need to consider when we are working with multi-Kubernetes pod deployments. And with OpenSpec, there is here, where is it? Customization, because OpenSpec gives you some skills that you can use with your AI tool, with Gemini, with Claude, or whatever other AI tool. But you might also already have some skills in your team or in your project, and you want to connect them, or you want OpenSpec skills to also consider those skills or extra tools. That's why there is under OpenSpec /config.yml, this file allows you to do some customization. Let me go to the code base. Allow for this session. And in the code base, where is it? Here. Yeah, here there is a config YAML. Let's keep it open. Yeah. And in this config YAML, so this is project context. It's optional. This is shown to AI when creating artifacts. Add your tech stack, convention, style guides, domain knowledge, etc. So this is important. For example, you might tell it this is a Python project and we are using um, Lightstar, for example, as a framework, not another framework, because with the Python there are many frameworks like Django or whatever. We are using, let's say, specific standard in our error logging, specific format, specific. We have some specific conventions. We have the standard REST API responses. Every response to request should have data. Then inside the data, the list of items that should be returned. Then we have errors next to datas, and it's either empty or it might contain some errors. And those errors should not be just some strings, but they should be also strings with code. Each error has a specific code, or maybe some other instructions and so on. And here an example of what context you can add to this config YAML. You can add, specify your tech stack, like I'm using TypeScript, React, Node.js, or I'm using Astro and Tailwind. And we use conventional commits. We use e-commerce platform, or our application is used just by internal maybe end users that are already employees in the company, and it's used by maximum 50 users. This is different than a website or an e-commerce platform that is available online and used by maybe millions of end users and so on. Those constraints will impact the implementation. An e-commerce platform that is available online, whether it has some thousands or hundreds of users daily, one of the acceptance criteria for it is that it should has very good web performance. Or you can even add constraints, like for example, most of our end users use mobile. Why this is important? This is important because the layout must be mobile friendly, and because when using mobile devices, generally you can see sometimes you can witness some internet connection issues. So which means that the website should be the user experience, we want it to be great, whether the internet connection is slow or not. Or when the end users are using mobile devices and they are moving or using their cars and so on, and they switch places, sometimes the connection will be interrupted. That's why you need to implement some retry logic for the requests. When I hit a button to order an item, but I lost the internet connection after hitting enter on that button, the request in the front end, for example, it might get 500 as an answer, so which is an error answer. And you need to add a retry logic, because maybe it's just an interruption in the internet connection. So when in the front end you will have a retry logic, after maybe 1 second or so, the same request will be sent to the backend, because the reason in this case is not that the backend or the server is not available, but it's just an internet connection, and the second request will be processed correctly. Okay. So it's still implementing this site. Let me check what was generated right now. Let me refresh this. Actually, I don't see changes here. We have some commands and skills. I have updated the proposal. So what was generated are the proposal, design, and tasks, which are available here. So with propose, the specification is proposed now. This is the specification, and as you can see, it's not one single file. Here we have 3 different files. This tasks file contain 5 tasks: environment and base setup, global UI components, serialized layout components with Astro. 4th task is to implement the page assembly and content collection, and the 5th task is the final verification and launch readiness. Okay, this was what was achieved with opsx propose. Now I can hit opsx and apply to start with the implementation. So we have the spec. The spec will be used to generate the implementation. And let me move this to right top. Yeah. So, this will allow us to see both the project structure and Gemini terminal. Okay. But I don't know why I couldn't. Maybe. So I'm trying to give the project structure more space, but it didn't work. Okay. Maybe now it will work. Yeah. Okay, this is just OpenSpec. And I'm expecting to see more folders and files in addition to that. With which tool did you work? Or which front-end frameworks and back-end frameworks did you work in your past experiences? You can type them in the chat if you have worked with maybe Angular, React, Astro, Svelte, or if you have some maybe backend with Java or Python or .NET. Let me know in the chat. I personally started my career with Java. I was at the beginning, at least in the first years of my career, I was a Java developer. Then I started using, after a few years, actually, I started using JavaScript. Sorry, I used just a little bit JavaScript at the beginning of my career. I was working on some ERP systems, and we had some JavaScript integration in them. Then I think after 2 years, in 2026 and 2029, I started using PHP. I worked with Joomla. It's a framework that allows you to have some web application very quickly. because it has already some available templates. Then I actually became a more full stack developer, because I took some projects where we have Java and we have JavaScript. And I worked also in some projects where the backend was implemented with PHP, and in the front end we had JavaScript. But what's this? Need to install the following package. Okay, to proceed. Okay, yes. Yes, proceed with the installation of the package. I'm not sure if I hit enter there or not. Okay. Where is it? Shell waiting for input. So it's still waiting. Oh, now. Yeah. My yes was given in the wrong place. So it's Gemini shell that was waiting for my yes. But I entered it as a prompt. Okay, so then my experience with PHP actually didn't last long. I think in total I might have worked just maximum 2-3 years with PHP, and I think in 2012 I worked a little bit with jQuery, then discovered Angular JS, and stayed working with it for a few years before moving to Angular, in addition to using Spring Boot as a backend for the backend in some of my projects. And recently, not recently actually, in at least in 2022, I started using also Python in addition to Spring Boot and JavaScript with Angular. And I have just a little bit of experience with React. And Astro that we are using today, I'm using it actually just for some private and non-private projects, but for lightweight web application or lightweight web apps that doesn't need a lot of functionalities, and they don't have a lot of complexity like a real enterprise application that might be even multi-tenant application, and each tenant will have their own required features and their own complexities. And with Python, I had also the chance to work with, to use LangChain and LangGraph in some AI agent system, which is a nice experience actually. It allows you to discover what are the challenges that you might face, like the LLM will enter in a loop, or how to implement the orchestration layer, or how to deal with some LLM latencies in the responses, or with some hallucination, which depend from the model that you are using, because not every model will have will hallucinate the same way. You might also want to integrate or to use features from your LLM, like the thinking feature. But the thinking feature will allow you to get better responses in your agentic system, but it might cause or introduce extra or increase the latencies that the end users might experience while waiting for the end response or the end results. Did anyone from you worked with some agentic tool, agentic systems, I mean, or built or participated in building some agentic systems? Just type yes in the chat if you did that, and let me know if you used Python maybe or other programming languages for that, and whether you used LangGraph slash LangChain or N8N or other tools for that. And if you have faced some, maybe some, what difficulties did you faced with them? I'm curious to know. Okay, so maybe we can have a look at OpenSpec while we are waiting for the end result. So this is another example of what context you can give. You can also give your OpenSpec setting. You can introduce some rules in your OpenSpec setting. You can introduce maybe some rules and constraints to make the differentiation between the production environment and the development environment very clear. You can give proposals like include rollback plan, identify affected teams if the project is an enterprise application maybe, and there are multiple teams that are working on it. Sometimes you can implement something or introduce something in your task which will represent a breaking change to other developers or to other teams. Or you can add to your OpenSpec settings things like use given when then format, reference existing patterns before inventing new ones, and so on. Okay. So it already installed the dependencies, as you can see, because we have node modules generated. We have also public. Public is actually used by Astro framework. Also, some other frameworks introduced the concept of public folder, which contains things that will be in the final bundle file or bundle package that contains the end web applications that is ready to be deployed. And here we have under SRC, so we have the layout Astro. This is the concept or convention with the Astro framework that the files will end with .astro, like here index Astro. Here we have Astro config.mgs. We have also the Tailwind config file because I asked it to use Astro and Tailwind. And let me check the package JSON to see which versions actually are used. So version 4 or 16 or 18 is the version that was used for Astro, and for Tailwind the latest version is 5 0105. Sorry, this is not Tailwind. Tailwind, this is the version 304 or 17, and this is a kind of Tailwind package that might help to do some customization or optimization for the applications that are using Astro. An interesting icon. Write file, consulting. Okay. In the consulting page, consulting MD file, there is this robotic icon. Okay. Did you usually work with Gemini, Claude, or other agentic tools in your daily software building tasks? I'm curious to know if you can let me know in the chat. Or are you already have a job for the moment or looking for a new one? I noticed many of my contacts have already open to hire or looking for a new job label on their LinkedIn profile. And I wanted to mention also one more thing. When you have a very detailed spec about what you want to build, and this might need from you maybe long hours to prepare such a detailed specification, but if you have it and it has very good quality and it's long and detailed enough, when you give it to your agentic coding tool, it's normal that it will take maybe even hours, or in some cases, a whole night or days to finish the implementation and show you the result, because you can leverage this spec-driven development to implement not just small tasks but also big tasks. There was an experience that was done by a company. I forgot the name, or I forgot the name also of the which team did that. They used very detailed spec, and I think I remember they give that spec to Codex version 502 and let it run for a whole week. And by the end of that week, they got the whole system ready to be used. And I think the system was a whole browser, actually, a whole new browser like Chrome or some other browsers. And you can imagine how many features are available in a browser, like rendering CSS, rendering JavaScript, read the HTML, try to measure the web page performance, allow people to install extensions, open multiple tabs, show how much memory is consumed by every tab. Or like in Chrome, we have even these dev tools, which allows you to measure or even to investigate issues in your JavaScript, your web performance, and so on. All right. So we have some pages that are already generated, like so the SRC folder contains the components, the content. This is the main layout. In the under components, we have button, footer, header, hero, page, and logo slider to animate the logo maybe, the metric block, service card, and under content we have the about page. It's not yet finished, so in German and English we have the insights page and the services page, and under services, so we have consulting. It's just in two different languages. And we have also config.js. So, and this is our starting point. It was OpenSpec under changes. This was what was generated with the command opsx propose. The opsx propose generated the specification in those different Markdown files. And when I called opsx apply command, the specification was given to Gemini as input, those different MD files, and apply started by to implement everything leveraging those specification or spec files. Let me hit allow for this session. Do you usually give your AI tool full permission at the beginning, or just like me right now, wait till it asks you and you check what permissions is it asking for? I'm also curious to know what different practices people are using. And by the way, I use actually Gemini and Claude both on my IDE and IntelliJ and also on different external terminals. It depends on the task that I am dealing with. Oh, the implementation is done. That's good. Okay. Then let me go to the other terminal and hit npm run dev, and we will check what result we will get now. Okay. Watching changes. Oh, just a moment. It's open on my other screen. Okay. It's still different from the layout, not this one, from this layout that was generated by Claude Design. So that's fine for the moment, but next time or in my coming video, I will show you what was the result that was generated by Claude. because I generated this layout with Claude Design, and I can give it as an input to Claude Code. In our today's session, I gave that layout to Gemini, asked it to generate a website that looks like that one, but it wasn't exactly the same one. Actually, I asked it to generate the second layout, but it used this background color, which is different from what I have expected. But let me verify something. Maybe I didn't leverage the model that I was expecting. Let me check which model I have used. Model. So it was Gemini 3. I just wanted to check whether it was Gemini 2 or 5. But it's not. Let Gemini CLI decide the best model for the task. So it's Gemini 3, but automatically in the background it used Gemini 3 Flash, Gemini Flashlight, not Gemini Pro. This might also explain why the result was not exactly how I expected. Let me check the stats. If I can find some stats about how much tokens were consumed. So tier, call, success rate, code change. So this is the number of lines that were generated. And what else? Input tokens. This is the number of requests. And this is how much input tokens. 5,457,000 input and over 25,000 output. This was Gemini 3 Flash preview. And this might be an old usage. Okay. What else can I check? Start tasks about footer. Okay. So, and I think with that, I'm ready for some questions. Hi, Jihan. Ijahan, sorry. Let me know if I have pronounced your name correctly or not. So please submit your question in the chat if you have any. Otherwise, this was actually... We reached actually the end of our session today. This was the website that was implemented by Gemini 3, leveraging an input, which is a layout, designed by Claude Design. The layout is, I gave it 2 layouts, both designed by Claude Code. This was the first one. And this was the second one. And I asked it, I asked it to re-implement an existing website and make it look like this second layout. And the existing website, or the available website, which is available online, is this one. But there was, unfortunately, a deviation. The first time it checked the code base of this website and generated this, which is the template, but just in the dark mode. There is a dark mode here also. I can switch to dark mode to show you how it look like. So it's different from this one. And the second time I created a new project, a new folder actually, which is empty. There were no code base in it, but I asked it to check this live online website and generate a new website by and make it look like this one. It has two theme, one light and one dark, but it generated again a website with the deviation from what was given. So, and as promised, I will share in a next a coming video what was the result with Claude Code, and we can compare the result of Claude Code with the result of Gemini. So, and that's it actually. Any question? I will wait for 1-2 minutes. So let me know whether I have answered or tackled some of the issues that you were expecting or wanting me to cover, or if there are some other topics you want me to cover in coming videos, articles, or live sessions. There are 2 people still in the with us, but I don't see any question in the chat. So then I would like to thank you for your time and for joining us. And you can submit your questions or request for topics that you want me to cover in coming sessions or videos or articles in the chats or in LinkedIn. You can send me a DM or even a comment on my videos or my Substack newsletter, which is available here. So there are a lot of topics that I cover regarding distributed system, regarding AI, regarding cloud computing, and so on. Make sure to subscribe there so that you won't miss any of my articles or videos. So, and that's it for today. Thank you guys, and see you next time. Take care.